Well, needless to say, we had us a water wheel. We've been business. Hello, everyone. Well, it's time to make the sawdust fly. I'm getting ready to start framing a couple rooms back here and then going to put a loft up over it. So if you've not been here before, I've got a 40 by 72 pole barn and I've enclosed 24 feet of it. So I've got 24 feet wide by 40 foot deep. So I'm going to put metal up inside this space. So I'll have metal on the walls, metal on the ceiling. So first off, I've got to get my wall girts up. So I've got something to attach my metal to. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to take a transit and I'm going to run it around and I'm going to get a reference line on all these posts all the way around the building. That way I've got a level line to measure off of, and then I will go off each post and set the height of all my wall girts, and then we'll be ready to roll. If you've not seen any prior videos, I chose to go with a spray foam insulation. We averaged at about 2 inches. We did the walls and then we did the underside of the roof deck as well. So we've got this baby pretty well sealed up. I actually wanted some outside outlets in it, so I've already got them installed. I use an old work box, and so I had them spray over my outlets. So when I'm ready to run electrical here, we'll go in, drill a hole through this, and then we'll only have a small hole here to plug and not having to try to cover that whole box. So I've got my light boxes up in the eaves, and then I've got 3 or 4 outlets along this wall that connects with the covered shed out here. So anyway, let's set the transit up and get us a level line painted around this baby. I'll tell you what, if you don't have a transit or some kind of laser level, if you do any kind of projects at all, they're pretty handy tools to have. This is a Bosch GRL250HV Professional. And I mean, it wasn't a terribly expensive unit, which it's not the cheapest one either. But I don't know how many times I've used this, and you'd think it'd just be for dirt work, but I use it for a plethora of things. So just in this case, I'll be able to run here and get a level line all the way around this building. That way I know I've got a good surface to work from. So if you don't have one, put that on your Christmas list. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera or not, but you can see where I've made my pencil mark. You can see that laser. And then it falling on around here, and then I can see it right here on this post. I'll use this line to set all my measurements off of. In which I'm going to have to come back where I tie my wall girts in here to these posts. I'll have to take that little oscillating tool and I'll come in here and notch this out to where my wall girt can set in there, and I've got a good place to connect to. But I'm going to go around the building and we'll get all these babies marked, and then we'll know where to start. Now, if you're trying to use a laser in broad daylight, in my case, trying to just get me a level line around this building, I can't see this line with just the naked eye. But if you get you a big pair of these big fancy red spectacles here, it'll show that line up and you can see it. So I'm gonna turn around here and I'll put the camera on where the line is. I'll try to find it without them, and then I'll put them on and I'll show you the fact you will not be able to see it through the camera, but yet you can see it through these glasses. I know about where the line is at. It's gonna be somewhere in here. But as you can see, you can't see it. But when I put these red glasses on, it shows up bright and clear. Right there is where my line is. I don't know if that'll show up on that camera or not. You should get a faint line of it where it's coming around my 2 marks there. Or you can use your indicator and run around each post, and you can move it around until you find that sweet spot. And if we look, we're dead on the money. I just always, if I can see my line, I just think it's quicker to run around through there with a pencil and hit your line versus having to use this on every post. But this one works. If you can't see your line and don't have glasses to see them, use this baby and it'll work just as good. So what I'm going to do now is in case I ever want to hang anything on any of these walls, by it being metal, that's the one negative, is you got to be selective on where you would screw something up. Probably be better off to put plywood around it. That way you've got a surface to, you know, screw to anywhere you go. But I want it metal in here. I want it to be slick and clean. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for the first 8 feet, I'm going to put a wall girt every 12 inches. That way every 12 inches down this wall, I've got something to screw to running horizontally. All right, now that I've got a level line all the way around the building, I'm going to come down here to the floor, and I'll have a treated 2x4 on the floor, and then I want to be able to measure off this floor up to the center of my 2x4, and it'll be 12 inches. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one as my starting point all the way around the building. So I'm going to come up 12 inches, and then I'm going to take off half the width of the 2x4, so that's going to put me at 10 1/4. So I'll go at 10 1/4, and then I'm going to measure from that line. That's going to basically put me at 23.5 inches. So I'll go around the whole building, take 23.5 inches down from this mark, and I'll drive a nail, and then I'll be able to hang on that nail, and I'll be able to go 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, all the way to 8 feet, and then I'll go every 2 foot from there, and then that way I'll have everything in this building will be the same height. So when I put the metal up, I'll drill all the holes on the ground, stick them up, and I won't have to worry about missing my wall girts when I'm screwing the metal up. Sounds like a good plan. Let's see if it works. Well, we're going to see how good this building's built. It's coming a storm. But I will show you one thing. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference in here on this camera. We'll get over here in the corner, and I'll let you listen to it with this spray foam. Okay, now I'm going to take you over here where it's just a shed with no foam. If you can't tell a difference on camera, I will tell you there's a big difference when you're standing here in person. But it is putting it down. They've issued a tornado warning, so hopefully those stay away. We just get this little wind storm and it'll blow on through. But I will tell you, if you've seen any of the prior videos, that 12-inch overflow that I put in down there going into the pond, I got a feeling she's getting a workout. Tell you what, after that rainstorm, I'm curious how my little dam and overflow's doing down here at the pond, so let's walk down here and check it out. Well, that erosion mat seems to be doing its job, and it looks like a little swell I cut over here to the right is keeping that water to the right and sending it down into the little creek bed versus before it was all running down here in the bottom and just washing this out bad. So let's go down here and check the little dam out. All right, I got this water diverted, dumping into the little creek bed. And then over here is where I built my dam and backfilled this bottom. There is 2 4-inch tile in there, which was a joke when I put those in, thinking I was going to carry this water. And then I come back and put a 12-inch tile in, which runs down to the pond. That 12-inch pipe right now is probably under, I would say, 12 to 18 inches of water. You can tell it's sucking her down, but she got close to overrunning my dam, and I'm glad it didn't, because all this new grass down through there, it wouldn't have fared probably too well. But it looks like she's drawing her down, or at least it's maintaining. So hopefully it won't come up no more, and we'll keep it contained. I'll take you down here to the pond and show you what it looks like coming in. From the time I got here till now, which has only been about 2 hours, after that storm, that water level has probably came up, I would say 2 inches in the pond most likely. But you can see that 12-inch pipe is spitting it out. We'll go down here to the overflow and see what we got coming out. Well, needless to say, if we had us a water wheel, we'd be in business. I'd say, looking at that overflow, it's come up 3 inches since I was here. So she's running the water through. Next up, what I'm going to do is in my corners where the spray foam is on the post, every place where I've got a nail, I'm going to take the little oscillating tool and I'll go in here and notch that foam out to where I can get my wall girt to seat against that post. So that's next on the agenda. Get them cleaned out. We may nail a few up before we go to the house. Okay, I'll show you kind of what I'm doing here. Is as my wall girts come along, they'll come in here and be able to set back in those notches, and I'll have a good place to attach them here to where they'll be sitting flush. And I know some people are probably going to say, well, Travis, why in the world didn't you just go ahead and put your wall girts on before they sprayed the insulation so you wouldn't have to do that? Well, when you figure how many wall girts I'm going to have in here, even if they're every 2 feet, just the fact of them having to try to spray up underneath them to get a good even coverage just make it a little more difficult. So I'd rather have them unobstructed to do a better job spraying the insulation versus me having to just come back in here and clean out a few places on each post. So corner post is really the only place I'm going to have to do it. So let's get to it. Hopefully we can get some wall girts put up here before long. All right, I got all my corners cleaned out and got all my posts marked. So tomorrow I'm ready to start running the wall girts, and then once I get those ran, I'll go back here in the back and we'll start framing these rooms in, and we'll see what kind of progress we can make. So I'll catch you on another day.